Canceling a subscription is often harder than starting one, and that is not a design mistake. Starting takes seconds, usually with a free trial or a discounted first month. Leaving is where the path suddenly changes. Now you are searching account settings, opening billing pages, confirming passwords, reading warnings, and staring at one last offer. The product was easy to enter, but the exit feels like a maze. That is the first clue. The subscription is not only designed around access, it is designed around delay. This is the hidden business model behind modern subscriptions. Make joining feel effortless, make leaving feel inconvenient, and turn hesitation into revenue. It starts with the sign-up itself. A company does not want the beginning to feel like a serious purchase, so the entry point is made almost frictionless. The offer sounds simple. Start free, try it today, cancel anytime, or get the first month discounted. Every phrase makes the decision feel temporary. You are not committing. You are just giving yourself the option. That is why subscriptions feel harmless at the start. The payment does not feel like spending. It feels like permission to decide later. And that is the trick. The company does not need you to make a strong decision today. It only needs you to postpone the real decision until after the billing cycle begins. The free trial is not just a sample. It is a timing mechanism. It moves the decision from a moment of attention to a moment of distraction. When you sign up, you are focused, curious, and aware of the offer. When the trial ends, you may be busy, tired, traveling, or working. That difference matters. The same person who would reject the price up front may accept it silently when the charge arrives later. Not because they suddenly wanted the subscription, because the decision was moved to a weaker moment. The trial does not only reduce the price, it reduces the resistance. Then the charge gets small enough to ignore. $5, $9, $12, $15. Each payment feels minor by itself. But the business is not built around one charge feeling huge. It is built around many charges feeling too ordinary to question. That is why subscriptions became so powerful. They turn spending into background noise. A one-time purchase creates a moment of judgment. A recurring charge creates a routine. And once a payment becomes routine, the company no longer has to earn the sale each time. It only has to avoid being noticed. The product does not need to feel valuable every day. It only needs to stay forgettable enough to keep billing. The most important button in this business is not always the sign-up button. It is the cancel button. Not because companies want you to press it, because the moment you search for it is the moment revenue is at risk. So the cancellation path becomes part of the design. The sign-up button is placed where your attention naturally goes. The cancel button is often buried where your patience starts running out. It may sit under billing settings, account menus, support pages, or even a separate website entirely. Sometimes you can join through an app, but you are forced to cancel somewhere else. Sometimes leaving requires a chat, a phone call, or several confirmation screens. The friction does not have to stop everyone. It only has to make enough people think, "I'll deal with this later." The obstacle is not outside the subscription. The obstacle is part of the subscription. The confusion gets stronger when the payment lives somewhere else. You may use the service on a TV, manage it through an app, receive emails from the company, and pay through Apple or Google. The customer thinks they are canceling one product, but the exit may be split across several doors. Confusion does not have to be intentional to be profitable. It only has to slow you down. Even after you find the exit, the system gets one more chance. The company does not simply let you leave, it tries to interrupt the decision. Are you sure? Would you like to pause instead? Here is a cheaper plan. Here is 3 months discounted. This is where cancellation turns into negotiation. The company already knows you are dissatisfied enough to leave, so it changes the offer at the final second. That creates an uncomfortable question. If a cheaper plan was available, why did it appear only when you tried to cancel? The regular price is not always the lowest price the company can accept. Sometimes it is the price charged to customers who have not threatened to leave yet. The discount is not always a reward for loyalty. Sometimes it is the price of your resistance. But the hardest part is not always the button. Sometimes it is the feeling of possibility. You may not use the service much, but you imagine you might use it soon. Maybe you will watch that show later. Maybe you will restart the workout plan next month. Maybe you will need the software when work gets busy again. The subscription sells access to a future version of yourself. That is why canceling can feel strangely difficult, even when the product is barely used. You are not only canceling the service, you are canceling the idea that you might become the person who uses it. Companies do not need to say this directly. The model naturally benefits from it. Unused access still bills the same as active use. The business does not always monetize what you do. Sometimes it monetizes what you hope you will do later. Then the default takes over. A normal purchase asks for a decision once. A subscription turns inaction into the decision. That changes the relationship completely. In a one-time sale, the company has to convince you before you pay. In a subscription, the company can keep charging while you decide whether it is still worth it. The burden slowly moves from the seller to the customer. The company does not have to prove value every month. You have to notice the missing value, find the exit, and finish the cancellation. That sounds small, but defaults are powerful. Most people do not actively review every charge in their life. They review what becomes painful, obvious, or urgent. Subscriptions are designed to avoid all three. The default is not neutral. The default is the business model. This is why subscriptions spread everywhere. Streaming apps, gym memberships, software tools, cloud storage, and shopping memberships all learn the same lesson. Recurring revenue is easier to predict than one-time purchases. Investors like predictability. Companies like stable cash flow. Platforms like customer lock-in. And consumers often accept the model because each individual charge feels manageable. But the system changes when everything becomes recurring. Your life starts filling with small obligations, not one giant bill. A collection of quiet claims on your future income. That is why subscription fatigue feels different from normal spending. It is not only about money, it is about mental clutter. Every service becomes another small decision you have to monitor, cancel, pause, or justify. The subscription economy did not just sell access, it sold companies a permanent place in your attention. And once a company earns that place, leaving has to feel harder than staying. That is why canceling often feels so strangely difficult. Not because every company hides the button in the same way, but because the incentives all point in the same direction. The model works best when joining feels harmless, leaving feels annoying, and doing nothing feels easier than deciding. Each piece is different. Together they create the same result. A customer who meant to cancel tomorrow. Then next week. Then after one more billing cycle. So when people say subscriptions are hard to cancel, they are not imagining it. They are noticing a business model where delay has value. The product may be the app, the service, or the membership. But the real advantage is the gap between wanting to leave and actually leaving. Because once a company learns that hesitation can be monetized, the exit becomes part of the business model.